This is a press conference about the Kiwi Rail new ferries and infrastructure. There will be questions after it, and it's a press conference on this issue and this issue alone. That's how important the matter is. First, can we acknowledge Chris McKenzie, the chair of Ferry Holdings, who's here today, alongside Catherine Rich and Captain Ian McLeod. Unfortunately, Heather Simpson and Greg Lowe couldn't make it here today. This team has worked hard, but they have not worked alone. Sensible people from across Port Marlborough, Centre Port and KiwiRail have come to the fore, and we thank them all. On 11th December last year, we resumed responsibility for the rail portfolio, and with it the leadership of the Cook Strait Ferry Replacement Program. We said then that we would outline the key ship and infrastructure decisions by the end of March, and today is that date. The IREX program, which our government cancelled in December 2023, should be studied by members of the public who want to see their dollars respected. It is a cautionary tale. In 2020, when we were responsible for KiwiRail, we committed $400.1 million, $400.1 million as a taxpayer contribution to buying 2 new ferries and readying the infrastructure for them. Back then, the total cost of that program was supposed to be $1.4 billion, with most costs financed by KiwiRail and the ports. Today, we're announcing that we're saving the taxpayers billions. That arrangement back then placed the commercial incentive on the companies to keep the costs low. What happened between 2021, when the ship contract was signed, and 2023, when the truth came out about this project, is as follows. The project leaders approached this task as though they were pricing the job, not delivering it. They did so because the previous government gave them every reason to believe they would get their way. The only method to stop behaviour like that is to do exactly as the Minister of Finance did in December 2023. Today we have vindicated the decision of the Minister of Finance to stop the old project. Project IREX was said to cost $3.1 billion according to KiwiRail, while officials warned the previous government that it would approach $4 billion, and even above that. Taking a charitable view of the world, by accepting KiwiRail's estimate, that meant the infrastructure costs alone would be no less than $2.6 billion. The vast bulk of this cost was expected from you, the New Zealand taxpayer. We said no. We said we could do better, so here is what we will do. By Christmas 2029, 2 new inter-island ferries will enter service on the Strait. They will get you, your family, the caravan, the dog, and all the rest across the Strait, which is what New Zealanders want to happen. New ferries mean we are buying for a full service life of 30 years. We are looking to the long term. These ferries will be about 200 metres in length and about 28 metres in width. That is longer and wider than the current inter-island ferry fleet of 3, meaning it has capacity to serve current and future demand. Both ferries will have capacity for 1,500 passengers. Crucially, these ferries will be smaller than what the previous government contracted in 2021. That saves us materially on infrastructure. The Cook Strait is also an essential connection for the movement of our goods and services. It has a freight task to serve, and these ferries will do exactly that. Trucks will drive onto these ferries. Rail will shunt onto these ferries. Both ferries will have 2.4 kilometres of lanes for trucks and cars, with space for 40 rail wagons. Again, both ferries will have 2.4 kilometres of lanes for trucks and cars, with space for 40 rail wagons. We serve both because they serve every business stretching across our provinces and our cities in New Zealand. The reason for this is just plain common sense. Road-only ferries would require us to reconfigure the whole operation at considerable costs. Road and rail ferries mean we shunt large freight volumes in single movements. That saves time, and time saves money. The Ministerial Advisory Group proposed the government buy 2 road-only ferries said it would be cheaper overall and that we should approach just one shipyard to do the job. That is, the old group, Ministerial Advisory Group, said buy 2 road-only ferries, it'll be cheaper overall and that we should approach just one shipyard to do a deal. We did not accept that advice. We believe in competitive tenders and a full appreciation of what best serves our country. The road-only ferries came out as more expensive than buying road and rail ferries. The surest way to keep infrastructure costs low is to use what you've already got. The marine infrastructure in Picton requires replacement, so it will be replaced. The marine infrastructure in Wellington has life left in it, so we will modify and keep using it. This level of pragmatism was completely absent under IREX. The road and rail marshalling yards will be modestly modified, but not completely renewed like under IREX. These yards were built by our forebears. They knew what they were doing back then. We know it because these yards have served us well for decades after decade. The road connections in Wellington and Picton will also be improved in discussion with these councils. The terminal buildings in Wellington and Picton will remain as they are today. While some may regret the absence of a Taj Mahal in Picton and a Sydney Opera House in Wellington, the people paying their taxes will not. And need we remind you that the main experience people have when they wait to board the ship is not the terminal building, it's their own vehicle. For those walking on, it's the ship that gives the experience, not the walkway. The time will come when new terminal buildings will be needed and space is allocated for when the ports are ready, but they are not needed now and not most certainly at your expense now. The new wharf in Picton is looking to the future. It will have a dual-level link span and double lanes. That means unloading and offloading will be faster in Picton than it is today. While Wellington remains single lane, as this saves the taxpayer considerable money, the time will come when the port companies invest in double lane infrastructure. The door to the port's long-term aspirations remains open, but we are focused on what's needed right here and right now. The next steps, well, today our government has agreed to buy 2 new ferries to serve our people, cars, trucks and rail. Our government has agreed to a pragmatic infrastructure solution that focused on minimum viable, maximum reuse. We have said yes to affordability and no to extravagance. This gives the small ferry holdings team the mandate they need to negotiate a good ship contract with commercial shipyards. Ferry Holdings now has key ship decisions, which enables them to finalise the ship specifications and invite a short list of shipyards into the closed tender process. These shipyards won't know each other and they will compete on price and quality. Ferry Holdings also has key infrastructure decisions and a firm budget to live within. This enables them to progress the engineering and construction program with both ports and KiwiRail. They will keep a firm hand on the tiller to keep scope and costs under control. And the ports will share this view as their dollars are also on the line. We receive alternative proposals from all manner of people and companies with many insightful ideas. They formed part of our decision. We have decided in the national interest to directly purchase ships and proceed with an infrastructure plan that meets our needs. We are buying ships and sorting infrastructure, and what must follow is a commercially disciplined business to safely, reliably and affordably serve our people and their goods. And for those in the media who want to know how much will it cost, let us say this: we will not approach this like Wellington Water, by which we mean revealing our budget while negotiating the price. That turns a buyer's market into a seller's market, and it's commercial stupidity. When the ship and port agreements are signed later this year, you will know the total cost and the shares between the government and the ports. In the meantime, it should be patently obvious to even the most casual observer that an infrastructure program that makes use of what is already there will be markedly cheaper than the IREX program, which sought to knock everything down and build utopia in its place. We are saving the taxpayer billions. Port Marlborough, Centreport and Kirriwale have approached this with a focus on pragmatism, cost effectiveness and a heavy dose of reality. Together with Ferry Holdings, they have a single plan to concentrate on now and to deliver on. And we'll back them all the way. So that maybe gives you a better idea of how it will look. This is I'll get the other one of Wellington. The green areas on this, are where there's going to be no change at the wharf. All right? That's Auckland, that's Wellington, and that's Picton. So that's the difference between prior plans and what we're going with now.
And I know that you're not willing to share costs regarding the ferry selling commercial sensitivity, but are you willing to put any kind of a number today for us in terms of what that's for infrastructure costs?
No.